One of the most famous examples of the way opposites attract was the hit 70s movie, The Odd Couple.
If you want to live here, I don't want to see you, I don't want to hear you, I don't want to smell you cooking.
The story begins when Felix, a neat freak, moves into his buddy's apartment.
I got brown sandwiches and green sandwiches.
But Oscar is a slob.
What's wrong, Oscar?
Something wrong with this system, that's what's wrong. I don't think that two single men living alone in a big 8-room apartment should have a cleaner house than my mother. Now kindly remove that spaghetti from my poker table.
It's not spaghetti.
The Oscar and Felix of the natural world live underwater, and one of them is another messy eater. Just like Oscar, the hermit crab owns his own home and has no table manners. The hermit crab lives inside empty shells of mollusks. It's prime real estate because it's relatively light and provides protection from intruders. That's because there are plenty of things in the sea keeping an eye on a crab. Unfortunately, the octopus is an expert at breaking and entering. The shell wasn't enough protection for this crab. That's why some hermit crabs go hunting for a housemate that can act as a security guard. The sea anemone's tentacles are covered with deadly stinging cells for attack and defense. But convincing a bodyguard to shift into a new house isn't easy. The crab has to carefully tickle the anemone's bottom to make it relax. Only then can it be coaxed into moving onto the crab's shell. There are advantages for the anemone if it moves onto the crab's mobile home. Often it has a room to itself, and it gets to feed on the crab's leftovers. But researchers have found that the more anemone bodyguards a crab has on its shell, the greater its chances of surviving an attack. So will 3 anemones be enough to deter an octopus? This odd couple is definitely not flavor of the month for the octopus. But then the hermit crab isn't the only one to call on the help of another animal when in a tight corner. When criminals are on the run, things can get nasty. That's why the police call in, not sea anemones, but dogs.
Police down there, let dogs go!
There are over 4,000 registered police dogs in the United States alone. Each dog and its handler has such a close relationship that they can respond to all kinds of dangerous situations. But the police in New Jersey have teamed up with a different animal. Move over, Batman and Robin. The strangest crime-fighting duo of them all is a policeman and a pig. Meet Ferris, a highly trained Vietnamese pot-bellied pig. A pig and a cop would make a seriously odd couple if Ferris didn't have an amazing sense of smell. The New Jersey police make use of Ferris's highly trained snout to sniff out drugs. And while Ferris might be a pig, he is a professional. And he doesn't get paid peanuts, but raisins. The hermit crab also gives a little food reward to its partner in crime. The sea anemone earns its keep simply by lying around the house. But coming up in the countdown are animals that have to work much harder in the relationship or they'll die. So far, we've seen crabby anemones and mussel-bound fish. But still to come is a relationship where someone definitely hogs the bed. And later, what blind animal makes a real leap of faith? Find out next. Sometimes life can be difficult if you're really tall. Even the simplest tasks can prove difficult unless you have a partner to lend a helping hand. That's why the odd couple squeezing in to number 7 in the countdown make a strange sight on the plains of Africa. It's not easy being a giraffe. Even though it's armed with a kick that can crush a lion's skull, it has no defense against one tiny enemy, the tick. These little vampires suck blood and are vectors for disease, which is why the giraffe needs a feathered friend, the oxpecker. A giraffe's parasite problem is an oxpecker's favorite dinner. One red-billed oxpecker can comb out over 400 ticks a day. It's been estimated that oxpeckers will eat over 150,000 ticks in their lifetime. It's a great partnership. The giraffe gets groomed, and the oxpecker gets dinner. But the giraffe isn't the only one to live with an animal that loves making a pig of itself. In England, dinner is served for Marion and her best friend, Rachel.
She's my complete companion, and she just comes to bed with me and she eats with me. She just does everything.
Is that nice? Hey, Rachel.
I've made my mind up now. I don't want men anymore. It got me nowhere, so I'm going to stick with my pig. She's wonderful. She's honest. She's genuine. She's just a lovely companion.
Strangely enough, the giraffe also makes a bed for its companion, because the oxpecker builds its nest from hairs taken from the giraffe's fur coat. At least the oxpecker pays for its room and board by doing the vacuuming around the giraffe's shaggy carpet. Our next landlord makes its tenant work much harder.